welcome to Coaching with Impact, the go-to podcast for female coaches ready to elevate their coaching business and make a lasting impact. I am your host, Eva Tran, and I own Faye Modern Creative, helping diverse female coaches shine with confidence through an elevated online presence using web design and holistic brand strategy. So here I have an amazing guest today. I'm so excited because I'm excited to hear more about your insights and what you've been doing to grow your coaching business. So please tell me more about you and just give us a little intro.
Yes, thank you. My name is Jaree Williams. I am a wellness postpartum coach creating space for new moms to feel seen and heard through prioritizing their wellness all the way to rediscovering their self post-birth and learning how to build their own village. And I'm a mom of two, so I know the challenges of postpartum, especially the mental health aspects of it. So going through my own experience dealing with PPD, known as postpartum depression, I didn't know I had it because I didn't know about it until after I overcame it. And so that inspired me to become a postpartum coach, allowing more moms to have knowledge about how to navigate through postpartum, knowing about the maternal mental health disorders, knowing how to prioritize themselves, and learning how to rediscover themselves, because oftentimes as moms, we will pour all of our energy out into our family and neglect ourselves. So that's a little bit about me. I'm happy to hear. Thank you for having me.
I just love your energy. It's just like from the moment that we spoke and even like through threads, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And that's the fun fact, right? That I met you through threads.
Exactly. Like, who would have ever known? And then now here we are.
Exactly. And I'm definitely going to be asking you some questions on that because Threads seems to be the up and coming new platform these days that I've seen a lot of people, not just coaches, but a lot of different people in the different industries are using this platform. So we're not going to get into it right now. We're going to focus on you first, but that is definitely a juicy thing that we're going to be talking about today. But thank you for that fabulous intro. Honestly, it's amazing what you do, and you are sharing so much knowledge and helping other women out there and people out there to just like really learn more about postpartum depression and all of those things that, I'm not a mother, so I don't really know much about it. But honestly, it's something that, I hear a lot about.
Yeah,
So,
it's rising. Like mental health
yeah.
for moms is rising, and then like oftentimes you talk a lot about postpartum depression and anxiety, but there's like so many other things as well as post traumatic stress disorder. You have like the psychosis, OCD. Like there's so many different factors of maternal health disorders, and it's just like more women need to know. Like oftentimes we plan so much about the birth, we think about our birth experience, and then you want to wing postpartum, and then when you're in postpartum you're like, I wish I could have planned better. And especially as a first time parent, like if you come home and you're like, okay, so we have the baby, now what? And so that's where I come in, where I'm helping more women, even parents, just plan for postpartum. Like I have a whole digital product for it to just guide you through what the things to expect so that you can be set up. Like you can't control everything, but the things that you can control, you can set up in place.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like for whenever, like the motivation behind starting this whole journey, like please tell us a little bit more about that. Like how did it click for you to just be like, I'm going to become a coach and help women with this?
Yeah, so it started my own journey. So when I was a first time mom, like it was tough. Like I was in a new job position. I'm a new mom. Me and my husband only been married for like a year, and it was just a lot. And when I went back to work, I wasn't really seeing my son like that. Seeing like 2 hours a day. I didn't feel like myself. I was like in survival mode. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like, not thinking anything of it. Like, oh, we'll pass. But then it got to a point where I was just like, a couple months later, I'm like, yeah, I'm not myself. And so I got to a point where I had to have a conversation with my husband. Like, I don't feel like myself. I don't know what's wrong with me. But it's just like everything is so hard right now. It's just like heavy. And I just had to learn how I have to prioritize and pivot. Like as a new mom, you have to learn how to pivot from your old life. So it's not saying that you're not able to do the things that you used to do. It just looks different. So I'm not able to go to work for like 12 hours and knowing that I still have to pump, or I have a baby at home, I have a husband. Like, there's so many different responsibilities. Like, although you can enjoy your career, or, maybe you don't like it anymore because you're like, well, this is not for me in the season that I'm in. So that's what it kind of was like for me. So I'm just like riding a wave, like, what's next for me? Who am I outside of being a teacher or educator at the time? And so I just switched up prioritizing, thinking about things that I really am passionate about. Like, having kids will bring you back to your passions. Like, I realized how much I love working with women, wellness. Even thinking back in college, I was like having a little program at a homeless shelter, trying to give moms a break. And I forgot about all the things I was passionate about. And so it came full circle, because even I wanted to go to school to be an OB. And then I decided to go into education because I like the flexibility at the time. But just bringing all that back together, it just made me realize, like, I had to go through postpartum depression on my own, and I had to figure out how to navigate through it on my own. And at the time, I didn't know about resources. I wasn't really in a space to want to talk to other people about it. And it was just that whole journey, that whole year. I was just like, I don't even remember some of the things. I don't remember some of the milestones unless I'm looking at the videos. And it got to a point where I didn't want another mom to feel like that. I don't want moms to just go through survival. Whereas I had to learn towards the end, like, he's almost 1, and I had to learn, okay, you can be present. You can take time for yourself. You can always start over. You can change. If you don't like something, you can change it. And that's okay. And I wish I had someone along the journey to just, help guide me and show me, like, okay, if here's this is how we can help you through. And that inspired me to start doing the same thing for other women. And now that I'm doing it, and it's making a difference, and it's just needed in this industry, even though postpartum coaching is new. There's not many of us out there right now, but soon, hopefully, that'll change. But that's what really inspired me through my own story, and just talking to other moms at the time when I was the first time mom, asking questions, and just like, this has to change. Like, we can't go around just surviving just because we're like, this is what the way of life should be. Like, no woman, no person should just be out here surviving. It's not fun.
Absolutely. And that's why it's like so interesting what you do, because when I heard about what you did, I was like, wow, I don't hear that very often. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody else that does what you do.
Yeah, and there's different types of postpartum coaches as well. Like, I even met a new postpartum coach today, and everyone has their own niche inside the postpartum coach. Like, for me, I'm more so focused on moms having more knowledge about mental health disorders and making a better quality life through prioritizing your wellness and having more time to rediscover themselves. That's something I'm focused on, whereas another coach can be focused on, all right, let me help you through the body changes. Let me help you through your anxiety and different things. There's so many different factors of postpartum coaching. So it's not even just one. It's just everybody specializes in something. And so that's the cool part about it, because I'm like focused on the mom's overall wellness, because we forget about the mom. We're like, oh, the baby. But I want to focus on the holistic approach of the mom and making sure that she's good so that she can show up and actually remember her first year and be able to just enjoy it.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I feel like every mom needs your service right now. And that's the thing. It's not like you learn this in school or anything, It's like
No.
own experiences, and it's not something that you can really, you don't really think about planning this in advance either. It's like, oh, you only figured it out that you had postpartum depression afterwards, right? And
Yeah.
hard to, it's kind of like burnout. Like, you don't know you're burnt out until it actually happens, and you start to see, like, oh wow, okay, so I guess I am burnt out. I didn't
Yes.
realize symptoms.
Yes, and there's mom burnout too. It's just a lot of factors in it, and it's just, yeah, it's amazing. And I can't wait to tell you more about how Threads helped me come up with one of my coolest ideas ever. I'm in the process of creating a documentary series on YouTube for postpartum interviews that happened on Threads.
Okay, you gotta tell me a little bit more. Yeah, just please share.
Okay, so I was like, okay, I know it's not just me dealing with that went through postpartum. And I recently had my second son, and I had a whole night and day experience. Like that was day. It sounds kind of like the first one. It was like my first postpartum. So what I did the other day, because it's like a lot of factors that I came into it, but I'll just stay focused. So I was like, okay, let me ask 5 to 6 women on Threads to see if they'll be interested in doing postpartum interviews. And next thing you know, it blew up on Threads. So it was like over 100 women like, I want to tell my story. I want to be on. And there's so many different factors and different situations because postpartum looks different for each person. No one's going to have the same experience. So with that said, I released my documentary series about postpartum interviews. So I started myself, and then weeks to come. So each week there's a different mom coming on to tell their story so that more moms can be informed. So say you're a pregnant mom. Well, yeah, a pregnant mom or a dad or a loved one. You're like, I want to know listen to different experiences. They'll have it right there on YouTube. You can like binge watch it. And it's just so amazing how Threads, it was just like you can find those kind of experiences to just help other women. So that's something I'm really excited about.
That's fun. But that's the thing, right? Threads is like, I would say, I mean, based on my experience so far, I've seen a lot of different amazing conversations happen on that platform. And, I'm not all so much about social media. I used to be, but I get burnt out pretty easily and drained from social media, especially
Yeah.
since there's a million platforms out there. But
Mhm.
the minute that I heard Threads coming out and, I played on it and I was like, oh my God, I'm literally obsessed with this platform. And it's different from Twitter because I find that it's a lot more, I mean, Twitter is like less filtered, or I don't know, like there's like
Yeah.
something different about Twitter as compared, or X, compared to like Threads. So,
Mhm.
I mean, we met through Threads, like I mentioned. Like I literally just put out a random Threads post saying like, "Oh, who wants to have a conversation? I'm looking for female coaches to talk about their experience and how to grow their impact." And there you are. You're like one of the first people to
Yeah,
answer.
I was like, of course. Like I'm always like team, like let me support other people. Like I know that's so big and just supporting others because it's just like everybody's out here doing their best, and all you can do is try to help people when you can.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I feel like it's very community focused as
Yes.
opposed to other platforms, and it's like real conversations. That's why I kind of feel like LinkedIn is similar in that sense, but different as well. Because LinkedIn is more like, yeah, businessy, corporatey, but
Yeah.
it's still, there's a lot of potential still for LinkedIn. And I do still see a lot of coaches on that platform. But Threads is just like a whole other thing where you have the Instagram vibe, but without the pictures and not too
Yeah.
much
It's
comparison,
like a
I
chill
guess.
space. It's just like a
Yeah,
chill space for great conversations. Like there's no competition. Everyone's like helping each other and just pouring into each other as well. Like we have people like you're like, I don't have no idea about how to do something. And someone's gonna be under your comments like, this is what you can do, or here's a video. And it's just like so helpful. It doesn't feel like you have to be like, oh, I don't know who I'm gonna talk to or no one's gonna respond. Like, no. You're gonna find at least one person to respond to something.
yeah, that's why it's so fun. And I'm glad you shared that Threads is like, it's pretty much your main platform now, isn't it? Or do you
Yeah, so at first I was on Instagram more often, but I was like, I
have,
don't get that much engagement on Instagram. And so I
yeah.
was going to take like a break, but my husband was like, try Threads. Like Threads is new. And so I just recently, I want to say November, I started
Oh,
posting on Threads consistently, and now here I am. Like I'm on Threads all day, every day. Well, like not literally, but that's my place. Like I love talking to my community. I love engaging with other people. Like it's just like, the vibes are there, and I'm always so excited to talk to new people.
honestly, yeah, I've made a million different connections on that platform, and it's honestly been a great platform from my
Yeah.
experience so far as well. So I'm glad that you shared that, because that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of different spaces you can be in, but you have to really put your energy to the right ones. And if you
Yes.
feel like Threads is the place for you, and especially since you've you managed to connect with so many people to do this documentary series. Like,
Yeah.
that is incredible. And it makes it so easy for you to connect with people too, right?
Yeah, it is. It's just like, okay, all I've got to do is ask questions. Somebody's going to respond. And I didn't even, that's the crazy thing. I didn't even expect like all these responses. I was like, well, okay, like, 5, 6 people, that'd be fine. Cause, that's just enough. But
Mm-hmm.
it just kept going. Even today, like, I think I did that last week. I don't even remember when I did it, but it's still going where people are like, hey, I want to do it. Or like now people on Instagram like,
Oh,
hey, I want to do it. And it's just like, okay, come
oh,
on.
wow. And wait, when did you post this one post?
I think it was sometime last week. I want to say maybe last week around, I don't even remember when. It was just amazing. It was like, that's how I know it was a wing of a thought. Like, okay, let me see if I can get someone to, interview them, get their experience. And it was amazing.
Oh,
I was
wow.
just so grateful. I was like, wow, like there's people out here ready to tell their story.
I love that. Okay, so Threads is your number one platform. Before it used to be Instagram. Is there any other platform that you use? I know you said YouTube now.
Yep, I'm on YouTube, but I've been on YouTube, but now I'm back consistently because I basically took a little break after I had my second son so I could be more present with him and
Mm,
adjust because I'm 2 under 2. So
wow.
that takes a bit of adjustment, but
Yeah.
now that I kind of have my footing and I'm ready to get back in and I'm not pregnant anymore where I'm like tired and drained.
Mhm.
I'm just like, I have full energy again. So that's my main platform, but I also have my podcast, Navigating Postpartum. That's really one of my biggest things in my website.
Oh, okay, okay. So your the main traffic sources for you and biggest opportunities for you would be Threads and
Yes.
your podcast and your website? Or
Yes.
okay, cool,
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yep. Because I'm in the process of like growing up my YouTube
Hmm.
because I didn't really take it serious, but then I realized like, wow, like I can make so much impact just by posting consistently.
Yeah, that's it, right? You just gotta show up.
Yes, and then now it's just like, okay, let's get serious about it. Put yourself out there with YouTube. So now here I am posting on YouTube, learning about it. So y'all give me grace with that because I'm like, that's a whole nother platform, like you talked about. Like it's just different platforms and being a content creator on top of like running a business. You're just like, okay, I gotta
On
plan it
top
out.
of being a mom.
Yes, on top of being a mom, like
Not
and
just one kid, you got two kids.
yes. And they're with me full time at home because I don't know what to describe myself. Like I stay home with them, but I'm running a business. But then I'm like, I don't want to put myself in no categories. So it's just, I'm out here doing my best.
I mean, you're already doing amazing. So
Thank
I'm
you so much.
grateful to be a part of like this where I can showcase what you're doing out there, how you're building your impact. And that's what it is, right? That's why I'm so excited to have these different types of conversations because everybody has their own take on things. Everybody has their own tools, their own platforms that they want to be on. And some can be draining more than others.
Yeah.
And, like, is there, apart from, these social media platforms, there's different tools in your business that you also might be using. Is there anything that you find that could be valuable for managing your business right now, your coaching business, or help you stay connected with your clients? Is there anything in particular?
I think right now my favorite thing is Threads, but I'm also like doing marketing, email marketing. I think
Yeah.
that's a big thing to stay connected, like with exclusive content of like sometimes I'll randomly send them a video about like, okay, y'all, here's a quick tip I thought about while I was going walking, or just staying connected, giving them like real life tips and having those conversations with them, like reply back, how are you feeling today? And it's just at the time you don't know the impact you make, but when you see the emails come in and people are like, oh, thank you, I needed that, and it's just like, wow, like that's one of the biggest things I've learned is just email marketing can make a difference, even though it's not always easy to stay consistent with it, but it's just like
Yeah.
you have to check on your people that wanted to subscribe to learn more about you.
That's the thing. Your email list is like your inner circle as well,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, it's definitely a lot more intimate, I would say.
Mhm.
So how often do you say you would email people?
So I like to email them weekly. So on Saturdays, I email them maybe something inspirational or tell them what I'm up to or just asking them, how are you doing? Do you guys have any feedback for me? What do you guys want to see? So it's just like checking in on them. So that's one thing I commit to doing is like, let me email them once a week. Like one time I was telling them about one of my favorite movies and how it reminds me about motherhood sometimes. And I'm just like, what's your favorite movie? You know, what does that mean to you? So it's just like those things, like connections really do matter and it makes a difference.
Okay. That's amazing. And I guess like, because you're helping moms deal with postpartum depression and like the holistic
Mhm.
process of everything, right? Is there like how often are you working with a specific client on that?
Yes. So for me personally, I do not like help women through postpartum depression. That's when I will refer them to a therapist or whoever, outsource whoever needs it, because I am not a licensed healthcare professional. I am here to help, like self help. But so what I do is my goal, usually typically I try to do either a planning postpartum workshop where, that's like an hour and it's like a group session, or I do one-on-one sessions depending on what it is. So I either
Mhm.
go from postpartum planning workshops or different one-on-one coaching sessions, but I typically try to work with someone. So say, for example, I met with a couple and they wanted to plan postpartum. We did that. So then I wait until a little after they have the baby, check on them, like see how things are going, see if they need anything, and that's kind of like checking in with them. And then I have different programs as well, so it just depends on what the client needs. I'm always like, okay, let's see what works for you, because sometimes people are like, yeah, I want to stick with you for a little bit, so then that's when I'll give them like a membership versus like say somebody's just like, I just need help with planning, and I'm like, okay, I got you. So it's just different tools based on what they need, honestly.
Okay, okay. So you do have your own membership, and apart from just like the main container, so you have your membership that's a little more ongoing and it's really helping
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of different needs that they have, right?
Yes.
So that's exciting. So you have quite a few offers going on that really helps to support your clients in different stages of the journey.
Yes.
Fun. That's fun. That's a lot. Yeah, a lot of interesting things there. Like, and it's really. I mean, do you have like any specific challenges that you found that you faced when growing your own business, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so it's funny that you asked that, because me and my husband was talking about a challenge that I do face, and I'm still, it's going to be ongoing. It's just the aspect of like connecting with the right people, because
Mm,
I'm fairly new niche and people are like, I don't even know what you do, like, and trying to, reach out and make those connections. Sometimes it's really tough.
mm,
Sometimes people don't respond, or, they're not interested, and that's okay. It's just
yeah.
part of growing a business. And sometimes in the beginning, if you would have asked me about 2 years ago, like, how did that make you feel when somebody didn't respond? I'd be like, I just wanted to quit because I felt rejected. And now I'm just like, it's okay. It's part of the process. And
Mhm.
I keep going. So one thing I do is like, okay, well, there's many opportunities out here, and I will attract the right people. There will be, the right partnerships and, options that I can have to work with people. But that's one of the things that I work through, and I'm still working through it. I'm not perfect. Sometimes it does sting a little bit. You just like, oh, I really wanted the opportunity, but it's okay. And I know as I grow, as my brand grows, people are going to be like, oh, okay, I know what she does now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it's really exciting.
I mean, the fact that you are on so many different platforms now and you're really, really stepping into visibility and putting yourself out there, that's already a huge step in itself. And, when the right people are going to come, they're going to come, right? And that's really what I believe. And I mean, I know your topic on postpartum depression and all that stuff is a little more specific, right? And you're
Hmm.
going to a more specific audience. Some women, like I said, don't realize it. You don't
Yeah.
realize it until you have it. So you kind of, I guess, a lot of the marketing for you would be really just to educate them more,
Yeah.
building that awareness. Is that really like what your content is mostly about?
Yes, it's really just having that awareness, because also too, it's good that you asked that, because even when I was doing the postpartum interviews, I had a survey for each person to fill out, and a lot of people just weren't aware, like like you said, they're not aware. We don't really think about those things. But since I post content and I'm always talking about it, now that I have, YouTube series growing, it's just like it's bringing awareness. It's having those conversations. It's really me checking in on people. Like if I know you just had a baby, I'm like, okay, are you good? Did you plan? And like now people are like, well, I was going to wing it, but then I'm happy I met with you because now I know what to prepare for. And I even had a client when I first started. She was like, well, I battled with postpartum depression with my first kid, and now I'm about to have another one. I really don't want that to happen. And just from like working with me for a couple weeks, a year later, I'm like, how are you doing? She's like, I'm doing great. I'm still using everything you taught me, and I'm more social. And it's just those are the kind of things that keep me going, because it's just like some days I feel like I'm talking to the wall. But I still show up, and it's just like, even though people don't always tell you or tell you in that moment, you don't know the impact that you're making. And that's kind of like why I keep going, because I'm like, you never know who needed that post today, or somebody's waiting, even though they didn't say anything, somebody's waiting to see the work.
I love that. That's such a key thing to remember. And, it's really what keeps you going. It's the satisfied clients that, all the people that you were able to help along the way. Sometimes I also feel the same way when things are slow, you have those moments, right? Where it's like, oh my gosh, like, does anybody want to invest in me? Like, I can help so many people, but nobody can see me.
Right.
Nobody's finding me. I get it. And, everybody has been there in every stage of their business. And now it's like, okay, in those moments where you're down, it's like, okay, what can I do to really, really be visible and help those people find me so I can serve more people?
Yes.
Right. And that's exactly what you're doing. And I really applaud you for that, because like it takes a lot of guts to start a podcast, to start a documentary series, like
Yeah.
to have these different conversations with so many different women out there and so many people that you can potentially help. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you so much, because I'm just like, that's what I'm passionate about this. So it just makes me excited when I see it. Like for me, I'm just like, it doesn't matter me putting myself out there. If I can teach in front of a classroom with little kids, I
Yeah.
can go and show up online.
That's the thing, right? It also really helps a lot that you have a educational background, where you have been a teacher, you know how to speak to people also, right?
Yes.
And that's like really your strong point. It seems like, you being in, like on the podcast and all that stuff, like you sharing your voice is really what's going to be the best way to be able to captivate people and share your story. So
Yeah.
that really, everything just ties together.
Yeah. You never know where life is going to take you. So you just have to go through the process, and then eventually you'll see why you did certain things.
Now, in terms of lessons, is there anything that you can share with the audience that is a number one lesson that you've learned that you can share that will help other coaches starting out or help them expand on their practices? Like, is there anything you want to share?
Yes, one big thing I think is the most important is just thinking about how you can serve your community. So don't just always think about like, what's in it for me? Like when you start focusing on serving your community, see what they need. How can you help them? Like even just responding to like people when they're commenting on your post, or just little things like that can make a big difference, because you never know who needs it. And because you do those things, you never know what they can do for you in the end. Because sometimes you don't want to expect anything, but sometimes, you never know. Like somebody's like, I didn't know. Somebody was like, yeah, I'm always sharing your podcast, or I'm always sharing your post. And I'm just like, I never knew that. But it's just like, you never know from those little acts of service and like building that community. Because once you build your community, they're going to have your back. They're going to promote you. They're going to tell you. They're going to tell people about you. So just always focus on your community, and everything else will come later. Like just focus on serving, and it's going to make a big difference, because if you don't have the right heart posture, you're not going to be sustainable in it as well. You have to really be passionate about what you're doing.
I agree 100% with what you said, because that's the thing. Community has always been such a core thing for me too, and it's really about how you treat people. Even
Yeah.
if it's just replying to a random stranger on the internet, it's still, it shows that you're considering what they're saying, and you're
Mhm.
taking time out of your day to reply back and read their message or read their comment, right? So
Yeah.
just little things like that can make such a big difference. And also, you never know who they might know as
Yeah.
well.
Exactly. And it's like when you walk past people on down the street, like somebody's talking to you, you're gonna be like, hey, back, or things like that. So you want to just kind of make sure. I know it's not always possible. I know sometimes, you have a lot of comments and a lot of things, but it's like just be mindful to be consistent with responding to people.
And I guess then engagement is really like that big thing for you, especially on threads too, right? Is
Yeah,
that
like I love to talk back to people. Like, wow, you took a moment to talk to me. Like, you know me, okay, so let me just respond. Like, even though I know I could be like, oh, okay, they responded, but it's like it makes a big difference. And even
mm,
when you're trying to, maybe when you are in the space of like, oh, I want to promote a service that I've just started or things like that, you never know what your community can do for you. Like, I know
that's true.
sometimes like you'll just see people reposting it or sharing it or just going to watch your videos to support you just because you responded to them or you show love on their comments and posts as well.
And would you say like you post a lot on threads? Like how often would you post on threads per day?
I don't have a number. It just depends on the day and what's on my mind.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like, okay, but one thing I try to do is in the morning post, like say good morning and give them something, some kind of knowledge or expertise during that day. And then the rest of the day, I don't know. It just comes to mind. Like if I have like I do an activity with my toddler, I'm like, oh, here's a cool activity. Or if I think about like how I can help like just doing things in my house, like, oh, here's a tip. So it's just different things like that. Just from
Mm,
everyday life.
okay, so it's very spontaneous. You don't have like a set time period where you're engaging with people. It just kind of happens when you have the time in your day.
Yes, as a mom, I cannot plan my days fully. I can say that I'm going to have a to-do list though. So then I try to allocate time to like just sit and respond to comments and just engage with them. It's on my task list, but it's just, no set time.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm definitely going to be putting a lot more time into threads these days. I mean, I'm already on that platform more than any other platform, and it's so cool to hear the experience that you're having with it. And I've heard from other people who have had great experiences just having different conversations with people, building that community, and really just like sharing the space with others.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear more about what you're working on. Is there anything in particular that you're excited about that you want to talk about?
Yeah. So the most exciting thing I have right now is I'm in the process of writing a book. Yes, it's called Nurturing the New Mom. It'll be out in July. It's about a guide to wellness and postpartum. So it's all things from pregnancy all the way to motherhood and beyond. And it's just, I poured my heart and my mind into this book. And I'm just so excited for others to read it and just use it as a guide to just help them through like different times throughout their trimesters and beyond in motherhood.
That's incredible. Girl, I don't know how you do it. Like, I feel like you're everywhere. I mean, we just met, but you're doing YouTube, you're doing threads, you're working on a book now, you're coaching, like you have kids. Like, how are you a one-woman show or do you have a team behind you?
Listen, I right now it's just like even though I'm like a solo one man show, I really appreciate my husband because he's like always helping me out, or like my in laws, like they'll keep the boys entertained while I'm doing something. So it's really just takes a community of like building your village to help you out. Like even though I'm in the process of growing my business and I'm like the main person in it right now, but I have people in the background helping me manage, like even just running ideas, or like if I need just help just for a couple minutes or I need to get something done. So I really commend my village for it. So
Wow.
that's the biggest part.
Love that. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights today. I mean, I am really inspired by everything that you do, and I'm excited to continue following your journey, see
Yeah.
what else you put out there, your book that's coming up. Like, I'm definitely going to be asking you for, any other resources that you can provide for the audience, because I'd really love to share it with other people who can just follow along you. Your YouTube documentary series, like, please let me know what that is so I can share it with other people who could also be just following you and listening to everything that you've got to say. So thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, and if you guys ever need anything, go to worthyforever.com. That's where I have everything in one stop shop. Even like my YouTube channel, you can click through there to get on YouTube and just it's so cool. So yeah, check it out and you will see different things and feel free to reach out. I love talking to people.
And what's your Threads handle?
It's Jaree.Williams. So it's my name.
Okay, cool. Very simple.
Yes, it's my name. So it's really simple and that's my Instagram as well.
All right. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for everybody tuning in to this amazing, amazing episode. I'm excited to continue to interview and get more insights from different subject matter experts, helping other coaches out there to build their impact and grow their coaching business. So I appreciate your time today and thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.